Hello, Tommy.
How are you doing?
So good. How are you doing?
Super good as well.
So first things first, we wrote "Call on Your Name." This song
Yeah.
that was on my album Lost in Wonder, and it came out as a single, I think, a few months before that. But we wrote "Call on Your Name" with Jessie Early, the wonderful Jessie Early, and I remember it was like probably my second write in life or just even in Nashville. I remember being like coming in to your home and like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to write songs. So I don't know but it was just such a brilliant group of people, you and Jesse, to like walk into. And
Well, you were a pro. I mean, you came in with like really like you had like your journal of ideas, right? You had like sermon notes and you had song ideas, I remember, and you were like showing us some of your ideas, and I think you had some voice memos too. And so you had some of this already, like an idea thrown down, and we were just really gravitated to this idea. We're like, wow, that's like really special. Like, what if we finished that and worked on that and developed it and see, where we could take it or whatever. And then we all just kind of jumped in, and it came together pretty quickly, I feel like, after that.
yes, I remember just being like, oh my goodness, this is becoming a song now. Like we're writing it now, and these people are just so brilliant and you guys just know what to do and knew how to craft this song with me. And I just remember thinking, wow, I can't believe it. Like this little idea has now become this. And I remember you on your keyboard, just like playing different chords and different sounds. So I remember thinking, I've never heard a piano sound like that. This is really inspiring, just this. Like, can we just go off this? You know,
Yeah,
just
I sounds are what inspire me. So my favorite thing in the world is to go through sounds, play different things on my keyboard, and just kind of based on what the sound is, it inspires me to play something different on the piano, right? And so we were playing around with the chords for the song, and I kind of wanted to, we talked about this. I kind of wanted to mix like some vintage synth sounds with like big cinematic, like epic production, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of our goal, to shoot for.
another thing that I was blown away by. Sorry, just singing your praises. But I remember the demo that you sent after that day. It was so, we've written all the different parts and it did come together so quickly, so beautifully. But I remember getting the demo and just having that on loop because I was like, this is a full finished song and it's fully produced. And I think we didn't even change much to what the produced one that you hear now in the world. Is pretty much the demo.
Yeah, well, and I think I approach it like, I don't like demos. Like, why would you make a demo to like redo it all later? Or, you know what I mean? Like if I sent you this song and it was just um one track, like one pad, and you singing over it, like it would be really cool, but it wouldn't like sell the idea of where it could go. Because this song is actually, I think this song could have been done 15 different ways. It could be produced several different ways, right? And so the idea that we talked about in the room and where we wanted it to go, like it should be fleshed out, and it should be people's first impression when they hear it. So when you show your team, they're like, whoa, this song is sick. You know what I mean? Instead of like a demo, it's like, well, what's it going to sound like when it's on the album? And then you don't know how to pick the songs that you want for your album when you have 30 songs that are just piano vocal. You know what I mean? Like it makes it harder. So yeah, I don't like the whole like demo thing. I think like it's a waste of time. Just get to it. Make the master. You know what I mean?
Do you like already hear the finished song, or when you're producing, like what is your process?
So my head explodes with these ideas, but um I also leave room for like exploring, because I love going through sounds, and I might find something that, you know, is like super cool, and I'll try it. And sometimes I try things that are crazy and it's like, oh, that doesn't work, and I'll just take it out, and there's no harm in that, you know what I mean? But then other times some crazy thing will just magically work randomly and that you didn't expect it to, you know what I mean? And then that could even be like an anchor sound in the song, you know? Because when you hear sounds to sing over, like you're going to sing differently and like emote differently over the bed that's laid underneath you to sing, right? And so, you know, if it's just like this cheesy sound that we just pulled up really quick, some thing, and we just played it down, like you're not going to feel it. But if there's emotion in the track under you, like you're instantly going to just feel differently and sing differently to it. And I think that's super important. Like that's huge. Like getting the vocal performance that you gave on the song is incredible, by the way. And it wouldn't be that, I don't, you know, it wouldn't be the same if it was just like, oh, just go in and just sing over like these bells that we laid down. You know what I mean? Like we worked together on like, you know, making a track that you loved and that, you know, you felt like, oh, that's a cool sound. Like I listen for those cues when we're in the room. You know, usually the person is somewhere in a chair around, you know, behind or something, and I'm going through sounds, and I listen for those verbal cues where the artist will say, oh, that's cool, that everyone's, that's cool. And I'm like, okay, they like that sound. And then and then they're silent, then they're like, oh, that's cool. And I start to pick up on what they like and what they don't like, you know what I mean? Because this is your song, this is not my song, it's not Jesse's song. Like we want you to feel like this is your baby that you own and that you feel and you want to present as your music, you know what I mean?
Totally. That's, yeah, that, and I felt that in the room, you know, when I was, because this song really is all about my fear of the dark, pretty much. Like, oh, even as an adult now, like I am fearful of the dark, and I feel all these lyrics and the melodies that even were coming out, it was so emotive and so everything that I feel and I want to sing, and I want to encourage people in, you know, calling on the name. And I just think it's amazing with music how all those different things, when you have a story, when you have an emotion or just a theme, and with lyrics and melodies, how that it can bring out that even more. And then with sounds and production, and I just think it's amazing. When I even hear it still to this day, I picture things like it's so visual, the sound, and it's so cinematic, and you're like, I could be in 1,000 different movies right now, like which one should I choose? But
Totally.
That's why music is so wicked and so powerful, that you can transform that emotion into, you know, a 4-minute, 5-minute song that people can take around with them, you know, on the bus or on the plane journey or in the club. Probably not this song.
Maybe.
I'm just grateful to you that, yeah, you managed to, you heard like the story and you heard the heart behind it, both you and Jesse, and just turned it into a piece, which is just beautiful.
It's definitely a special song. Like I've seen a lot of feedback from people that are just like, man, this song was my go-to song last year. It carried people through. It's a great reminder. I mean, it's not a light thing to put words in people's mouths, like prayer words, right? Like that's not something to take lightly. That's like a big thing. And so I just remember I love talking about the concepts of songs while writing them. You know what I mean? Just to keep everyone, like we're all on the same page. We know what we're talking about. We know like what we're trying to accomplish. We all know like what the thing is. And then we just talk about different ideas of how to get there and how different people could use this in their life, whether they're facing this or that. And no one hears those conversations of the discussion of the concepts, you know what I mean? But I think those are probably the most crucial part of songwriting, is talking through the ideas. Because sometimes you're like, well, should we come from the angle of this person or this person? And that's all part of the process, you know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, people will pick up on those things that we discussed and then wrote because of, but they're not necessarily in the song. Does that make sense?
100%. What is the first thing that you did to this song? Like, what was the first element you brought in?
Well, I got the session here. Let me actually pull it up.